quarterbacks, starting with Cooper Rush, Dan, on a nice 43-yard play.
Yeah, Greeny, Cooper Rush has always played well when given the opportunity. Under center drop back, throws a beautiful go ball down the left sideline. Really good adjustment by that wide receiver to come back and make that catch.
And then we got to see Trey Lance. He threw 41 passes in this game, Dan. What did we see?
Yeah, a ton of passes. You saw some of the talent. You know, Trey Lance moving in the pocket here, the athleticism. That's something that he's been notorious for since coming out. And then you saw some flaws of his in his game that you're sitting there going, okay, do we have to get better at that? The under center play action, I love the timing of that throw and that receiver making that contested catch.
25 of 41, 188 yards on the day for Trey Lance. Stetson Bennett, we all remember him, of course, from all those great years at Georgia. He had himself a tough day. Dan, this is one of his 4 interceptions.
Yeah, he just holds it for such a long time, and instead of floating it over that linebacker, it's almost like he doesn't see him, Greeny. This back angle, you're going to see he's got a receiver coming over. He just puts some air on that. He's going to be able to run to it. Instead, throws it right to that linebacker for an interception.
But he would get the last laugh in this one with 11 seconds left and his team down by 6. And this is a 4th down play. Stetson Bennett with the sidearm sling for the game-winning touchdown. So the Rams wind up winning it 13-12 for what that is worth. An interesting day in a variety of ways. But obviously the most important stuff that is going on with the Cowboys has nothing to do with what took place on the field. The owner, Jerry Jones, yesterday walking back those comments he made last week about there not being a sense of urgency to get a deal done with CeeDee Lamb. Those comments did not sit well with the wide receiver. Here's what Jerry said.
I think I got in trouble a little the other day when I said, look, we're not urgent about CeeDee. Well, no one appreciates CeeDee being on the field any more than I do. Now, I understand completely the angst that's happening when you're anxious about and someone says anything about whether you're missed or not. Well, CeeDee, you're missed, okay? But you're not missed out here competing, and it doesn't put any pressure any place on us.
Okay, so Dan Graziano, do you have a Jerry English Jerry dictionary? Can you explain that one?
Well, we said last week, right, they asked him, is there a sense of urgency? He's going to say no because he's negotiating, and it doesn't help his negotiating position to say yes. But obviously he gets back and sees the reaction, like, you know what, I should probably have said something different in the moment. His points are, look, we're confident we'll get it done. In the meantime, we've had some other receivers getting opportunities in camp, and that's a good thing. We know CeeDee Lamb knows the offense. We know whenever he gets here, it'll be fine. So those are the points he's trying to make. But, yeah, he felt like he had to go out and say that because, obviously, it must have gotten back to him that the player got annoyed.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone who has access to Twitter X is aware that he was annoyed because CeeDee Lamb reposted that cut with the letters LOL, and then Micah Parsons retweeted that. So the players are noticing.
Players, you know, what the funny thing was, first thing that jumped to my mind was, remember when Emmitt Smith held out?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Like, that's the first thing that I started thinking when this whole thing started unfolding was, could CeeDee, like, hold out into the regular season? Like, this dude has a lot of leverage here. And that, to me, is when I heard Jerry Jones made the initial comments, I'm like, bro, this is not good.
Yes, for those who don't remember what D. Wood is talking about, 2 generations ago, in the early tenure of Jerry Jones being the owner of the Cowboys, they won the Super Bowl, and then the following year, Emmitt Smith held out into the season. He missed the first 2 games of the season. They realized just how badly they needed him. They got him back. They won the Super Bowl again, and he was the MVP of the Super Bowl. So we've seen that happen. We've also seen Jerry go down to Cabo to sign a deal with Zeke Elliott. So usually when these standoffs have happened historically, the Cowboys have not come out on the top end of it. Dan Orlovsky, what is your perspective on all this CeeDee stuff?
See, Graz, you say he knows the offense and everything will be fine when he comes back. I disagree. You know, when these premier athletes miss time in training camp, usually there's something attached to either their performance or their health that isn't on par with the expectations. The Cowboys play a game in like 3 weeks or something like that, the ones that matter. This is valuable time for CeeDee just to get into regular, like, hey, I'm ready to go football shape, no matter how much you train. This team plays the Cleveland Browns in week 1. They're more than likely going to be starting a rookie left tackle, going against Myles Garrett. That is going to be an unbelievably difficult task with CeeDee Lamb, let alone without it. No receiver in football has more yards when a quarterback's pressured over the last 2 seasons than CeeDee Lamb. You're talking Cleveland week 1. You're talking New Orleans week 2. You're talking Baltimore week 3. Talking the Giants with the new addition of Brian Burns week 4. Pittsburgh week 5. This gets really dicey for the Dallas Cowboys. For a team that's on the verge or the fringe, they better get this dude in camp, and they better get him firing on all cylinders when he comes back quickly, or this season can start downhill fast for the Cowboys.
Gross, what were we talking about in the pre-production?
Oh, the Browns.
About the Browns.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Browns are absolutely loaded.
Yeah.
Loaded. I'm telling you, like, you better get this CeeDee stuff straightened out ASAP, because it's not going to be pretty.
And the point that Orlovsky makes that I brought up last week, how many times do you see a player, especially a skill position player, come in late, and the next thing you know, it's a hamstring? I remember it with Darrelle Revis.
Sure.
I yelled at Tannenbaum the other day about it because he was the general manager when it happened. These injuries, you can't help it. These guys want to be ready.
That's why they've changed so much about ramp-up periods in training camp. When he does get there, they'll bring him in slowly.
Their contracts this offseason, like all these deals that you see, shaded in dark there, including the Eagles and Dolphins paying 2 wide receivers this offseason each. And of course, Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp got paid very recently and are much older players who've gotten more contracts done. So the point that I'm making is
half of those guys.
It's all there, right? Like all these deals are there. They've all been done. The fact that this hasn't gotten done stands out so much.
Much more than like Ayuk in San Francisco.
Right.
I mean, like this is. You and I could do this deal in 2 minutes, like we know. But the Cowboys are hung up on structure, when the big cap hits will be, when the guarantees will hit. They're telling him, look, we got to do Dak, we got to do Micah Parsons eventually. We got to put this jigsaw puzzle together. And his response, which I think is always should be the player's response, is like, not my job.
Right.
Like, not my job to manage your salary cap for you. You come up with something I like, and I'll sign it.
Yeah. What is that that meme? And that's not a meme, but that thing where everyone's making fun. Give me my money. I would write that thing, and then everyone like makes fun of the one person who no one cheers for.
Yep.
Like that's what's going on here. He's yelling that. I think I just misdescribed the TikTok trend.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's you were culturally off on that one, Greeny. Yeah. Culturally off on that one.
I think I had it mostly
in
right.
that graphic,
Go ahead, Dan.
5 of those guys were rookies or on their rookie deals, and they've all gotten done. The second thing is this: when it comes to those big 3, the Dak, the Micah, and the CeeDee, I'm pretty confident, even though the holdout is happening, that CeeDee Lamb's going to be a Cowboy.
Yes.
I'm pretty confident that Micah Parsons is going to be a Cowboy. I'm not confident that Dak Prescott's going to be a Cowboy.
No.
More than likely, both of those deals, the first 2, CeeDee and Micah, are going to get done. You envision those happening. I don't know when, and I don't know what the butterfly effect of them getting done is going to be, missed games, whatnot. I don't feel that way about Dak Prescott. I don't feel that Dak Prescott's going to be a Cowboy in 25 or 26. And I had someone say to me recently, what happens if Dak is the person who doesn't want to sign? What happens if for Dak Prescott, winning is going to be more important than the star on the helmet? He's made $1 gajillion. For everybody that's like, yeah, but there's no more thing valuable than being a quarterback. He's made $1 gajillion. He's going to make $1 gajillion in the next 8 months. What happens if Dak is the one who's sitting there going, you know what, I'm done with this journey of mine?
The point we've made repeatedly, Dan Graziano and D. Wood, is that that's never happened before. Right. Being the quarterback of the Cowboys is like what once upon a time it was to be the center fielder for the New York Yankees. Don Meredith didn't go anywhere. Roger Staubach didn't go anywhere. Danny White didn't go anywhere. Troy Aikman didn't go anywhere. Romo, all these guys, because being the quarterback of the Cowboys was so valuable. We live in a different world now. Yeah. We live in a world where you can be the biggest star in your sport in cities like Green Bay and Indianapolis and wherever else you go. So what we don't know, Dan Graziano, because I don't know Dak at all, considering I've probably talked about him more than I've talked about my own children over the last 5 years.
Correct.
And yet I don't know him at all. Like, I don't know whether he finds all of this attention wonderful, which some people might, or like something I'd love not to have to deal with, which other people might. I don't know that part of it, and I think that will go a long way towards deciding what he wants to do.
I think what we know about Dak Prescott and you know, his background, what's going on, what's happened with him and his family, like, you know, he's pretty good at, I guess, compartmentalizing, right? Like, this is an important aspect of my life. This is another important aspect of my life. I'm going to focus on this right now. I think he's shown an ability to do that. he's got good perspective on what this is all about, and he recognizes he's in a great situation.
Right.
He doesn't have to do anything at all in his contract unless he gets everything he wants. Because his worst case scenario is he's going to be a free agent. And that is, if you're an NFL player looking to make some money, the best case scenario.
I just find it hard to see Dak Prescott being with the Cowboys after this year. You've gotten to the point where you are unrestricted free agent.
Yeah.
They can't tag you. They can't do anything.
Right.
There are so many organizations out there that are dying for a quarterback, let alone a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. And
they will outplay the Cowboys.
Like we talked about how the Dallas Cowboys, yes, they know how to draft and develop, but they don't go out there and supplement those guys. Like if you're going to be all in, hey, Dak Prescott might say, look, I want to go to an organization that is truly all in all aspects of it. Not just drafting, but, hey, free agency. We're going to go get guys. We're going to do all the things necessary to try to go win a chip.
Dano.
Yeah, maybe his own legacy is more important than the star for him now.
Yeah.
Hey, Dak Prescott, if we're just being real about the story of Dak Prescott, is an unbelievably successful story. Fourth round draft pick, becomes the starting quarterback, kind of breaks the record with a contract. I think he's one of the winningest quarterbacks regular season wise in Cowboys history. Maybe that's enough for him when it comes to his Cowboys journey. And maybe now it's his own personal legacy of if he wants to take that next step, he's very aware that he's going to have to go win in the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. And maybe in Dak's mind, I don't think that's going to happen in Dallas. Maybe there's a better opportunity for him to do that in a New Orleans or in a Las Vegas. Two different places that might be looking for quarterbacks next year. And while the journey with the star in the helmet has been unbelievably beneficial for him, maybe he sits there and goes, maybe it's not about that full journey in my own story, more importantly in the future.
Has his best receiver involved or not? Do we want to play the Asante Samuel here? Do I have a second for it? Or okay, let's do it then, because there's a whole other side to this story, right? So the quarterback is in the last year of his deal, and so is the coach. And in case you missed it, Asante Samuel, who played 5 seasons for the New England Patriots, made a bold prediction about his former coach, Bill Belichick. Listen to this.
Jerry Jones he loves his players. He treats them right. But something's going on this year. And I think that leads to next year to say Bill Belichick will be the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. And it's ultimately comes down to Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones wants to win a bowl. For him to get that bowl, his options are running out. And that last option for him to make this thing come to light is Bill Belichick.
You played for Bill Belichick at the very beginning of your career and very early in his tenure as a head coach in New England. He had a previous stint in Cleveland. Do you see that as a fit, Jerry Jones and Bill Belichick?
Absolutely, I do. Like, I can see that fit for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think Bill has always had an affinity for the NFC East. Okay, I think him and Jerry Jones have a pretty good relationship. Okay, the roster is pretty good. I think my biggest question is, who's the quarterback?
Yeah.
Who is the quarterback? Because all of Bill's success has been with Tom Brady. We saw what it looked like without Tom Brady. Who's the quarterback? Is it going to be Dak Prescott? Or you're going to have to go ahead and find a quarterback if you're the Dallas Cowboys? I think that, to me, that's the central question in this whole thing.
Yeah, if Bill Belichick's going to be interested in that job, assuming it comes open, then that'll determine the level of interest. If Dak Prescott is not there and they have to go find a quarterback, he probably is not interested in that job. The question is, are the Cowboys interested in him? And again, we're getting way down the road here. I mean, like Mike McCarthy could win 13 games and go to the NFC Championship game. Like, that's on the table. But if, then yeah, the Cowboys would have to change the way they operate significantly if they were to make a coaching hire like that. They've done it once before when they brought in Bill Parcells. That was kind of a marriage of convenience, and it was identified at the time as it would be a short-term one. So that would be the similarity. But yeah, I think it's going to be something we keep talking about, obviously, if the Cowboys struggle.
Dan?
Bill Belichick being available doesn't do anything to Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's got to get to at least a divisional round and play a really competitive game to keep his job. Mike McCarthy's a really good coach. The expectations are very high. Bill Belichick just went through a cycle and didn't get hired. He's the greatest coach in the history of the league, but I don't think his availability changes the pressure on Mike McCarthy.
I think that's fair. I think that's because the pressure on Mike McCarthy is already on an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10. So it can't necessarily get any higher. Let me show you the other preseason game from yesterday. Dan Orlovsky, you were very impressed with one of the quarterbacks in this game. Here's the other one. Anthony Richardson, Colts and Broncos yesterday. Richardson had some nice moments, Dan.
Yeah, I like that throw away from that driving defender to Mo Alley-Cox. That leads to another 10 yards and yards after the catch, Greeny. I love this when it comes to, okay, pressure, get outside the pocket, nothing there, get out of bounds. You're going to take some shots. Don't take the unnecessary ones. Now, this third down throw, Greeny, I'd like to see it more out front of that tight end. If he gets it out front, I think he can catch and run and get that first down. Anthony, get your feet set so that ball can get out front.
Okay, and then the other quarterback, though, the rookie Bo Nix. I know you were very impressed.
Sean Payton has found his point guard. This is quarterback one, Greeny. So much good from Bo Nix. Move the pocket, take off as a runner, eyes downfield, quickly reset, and snap that ball going to your left for a beautiful throw. You saw a little bit of the designed quarterback run with Bo Nix, something athletically he's capable of doing. Sean Payton in this offense having that element, and then the RPO for the touchdown. Watch how quickly he goes ball fake, sets his feet to rip this throw, and then that's solid coverage. That ball's got to get out front or it's going to get batted away. Really impressed.
It wound up going 15 of 21, 125 yards and a touchdown. Here's one more for you here to a nice wide open receiver. Broncos would go on to win this game 34-30. And I'll remind everyone, as far as experience, I mean, yes, Bo Nix is a rookie, but he's 24 years old. Yeah. He threw 45 touchdowns and 3 interceptions at Oregon last year. And Dan, after the game, you tweeted obvious QB1. So you believe he starts the season?
Oh, no question. When they drafted him, I felt like he would be the starting quarterback, Greeny. You saw everything that Sean Payton wants in a quarterback yesterday that we thought was going to make sense play itself out on the field. One, the ball came out quickly. I think 19 out of his 21 pass attempts happened in less than 4 seconds. He was great versus the blitz. The ball placement when it comes to the yards after the catch, huge part of this offense, was really paramount. And then the athleticism, the plus stuff was in his game. He did not look like, and not in preseason, but he did not look like a young man stepping foot on the field in the NFL for the very first time. Sean Payton's going to start him their next preseason game. I'd be shocked if he's not their starting quarterback week 1, deservedly so.
Quick thoughts, D. Wood.
No, he did. He looked. This is what happened. You know, when you play a ton of snaps in college, it doesn't surprise me that he had the type of debut that he had. And I think he's the perfect point guard for what Sean Payton wants to do.
He made 61 starts in college football. Like, that's incredible.
Right.
I think he would have had to look completely lost and overwhelmed this preseason in order to not be the starter. And obviously, he did not look that way. I'm with Dan on this.